Hello and welcome to Breakthroughs with Bree, where we are discussing all the topics that create extraordinary breakthroughs in our personal and spiritual development journeys. I'm Bree, otherwise known as Healing with Bree, and I'm a spiritual coach and Akashic Records channelers who helps sensitives and intuitives connect more deeply with their hearts, intuition, and souls, and teaches people how to process and alchemize the fears and beliefs that hold them back from living in their authenticity and purpose. You're in the right place if you like to hear about spirituality, psychology, healing, consciousness, manifestation, developing your spiritual and intuitive gifts, and living from your heart and soul instead of from your fears and ego. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Breakthroughs with Bree. I apologize for the 2-week little hiatus that we did. This episode is going to be the season finale for season 3 of Breakthroughs with Bree. There always comes a point in the season where I'm not feeling the creative energy or like quite as strong of an impulse or inspiration to come sit down at the mic and record an episode, which to me is a sign that like my energy is shifting and that it's time to do sort of like a regeneration, right? Like when you step away from one thing and you let yourself take a break from it, it's almost like you get to like recycle that in yourself and literally let it like regenerate for the next version of it. And I'm feeling that for this season of Breakthroughs with Bree. But I did want to come back and give you some monthly energy forecasts for July, for August, and September, because definitely I'm going to be taking a break through August, especially with my summer schedule and seeing family and doing lots of wonderfully abundant and lovely things. And I want to give myself a little bit of time into September if I'm not ready to go right at the start of the month, since my birthday is September 1st. So in case like I'm trying to like be a little bit more disconnected for my birthday, I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek at the energy for these 3 months so that you feel armed and prepared, so that you know that your girl Bree's got your back, is giving you some insight. And so we're plugged into the Akashic Records, pulling some tarot cards on those today. Other fun life updates before I do all of that is one, Cycle Breakers, this year's group coaching program has started and it's going so lovely. We have about 10 women in the program of all ages, and it's so wonderful to like bring people together with this common goal of wanting to improve and deepen their relationships and heal whatever is in them that might be contributing, as well as being supported to start attracting or building their relationships to be a little different, you know? It's been so much fun. We're chatting all the time on WhatsApp. I'm doing card pulls for them. We're having bi-weekly calls together. We're having like weekly questions that we're answering and responding to each other. And I just explained that to you in case the sound of that is something that you like, so that you have a feeling of what that's like when I do group coaching or just even group programs in general, so that the next time that I open one up, you can be like, I've heard about that. I like that. I might want to do that. It's been so much fun. Also, I have finished up with all of my one-on-one clients when my books were absolutely filled at the end of last year, coming into the beginning of this year. So I will be opening up just a couple spots over the summer and into the fall. I will be updating the information about the one-on-one coaching offering. Some of the changes will be that instead of it being 4 months of sessions, I'm probably just going to have it be 6 months. That will impact the price just a little bit. And in general, I have just been feeling that I want to offer my one-on-one coaching work at a little bit lower of a price point than I had been in years previous. It won't be quite the same as that scholarship that I was offering at the end of last year, but it'll be comparable to that. I just think that doing this healing work with people is also so valuable to me. Like, I learned so much from you guys. I get so inspired by what you guys are going through, and I really love this community of people. And I'm just feeling moved to let that, at least for this point in time, be at a little bit different of a price point. So if that's something that you really want to take advantage of and jump on, check out the link in the show description, and please sign up for my email list, because I am going to send a blast out to my email community once the updates about that program have been made and I'm officially taking applicants. I just did a TikTok about this, and that's another fun little update, is that I'm posting so much more on TikTok, and it's really fun. I'm posting stuff about reality TV that I'm watching, and like basically the healing lessons and some of the fun things that are coming from that, and just other types of content that's related to this kind of work that I do. I've been having this inspiration or this vision of potentially going viral, which very well may happen, but regardless, it's made me excited about the idea of just committing to creating and posting more there. So I highly recommend you following me on TikTok if you have one. But I posted a video that was about misconceptions and healing, and that healing isn't about fixing broken parts of yourself. It's not about like mending the parts of yourself that are bad, or learning how to overcome them, or learning how to squash them away and not act on them anymore. That to me, healing is when we learn how to bring love and that soul level truth to all parts of ourselves. And that the parts that we're struggling with are holding pain, we learn the skills of how to meet them, how to see that they're actually lovable and there's nothing wrong with them, and how to bring that love and truth to them so that they can release the fear and the pain that they're holding. And when we release the fear and pain that we're holding, we actually learn and see what our authentic expression is. And what our authentic expression is love and goodness, always. So I love teaching people in this one-on-one coaching work literally how to do that. So whatever those parts of you that are holding pain or getting stuck in loops or that you're struggling with, like we learn how to go there and how that can feel safe so that you can unleash your authentic self, which is love and goodness. Whether that's impacting relationships, whether that's how you're showing up for a career, maybe even that's just your self-perception and how you feel in your own skin in your own life. But that's what I'm doing in the one-on-one coaching, and it's very, very powerful. I got a testimonial from one of my one-on-one clients that literally made me cry. You guys got to hear this. One of the things that she said, she started feeling like a victim to a physical injury she had, disconnected from her body and feeling like change needed to happen, but she was very unsure or lost on how to get there. And a major breakthrough that she had through us working together was that she learned she is fully equipped to handle and to feel the full range of her emotions. This was aided by literally a step-by-step like little formula that we created together on a way that she can do that does not activate fear or shame. She said, I learned I'm not broken nor a victim of circumstance and that I am my own greatest healer. Amazing, incredible. Some tools and processes she learned. I do some EFT tapping, and that ended up being something that she really, really loved. Learning the fight, flight, freeze, and understanding how she was in a dysregulated step, and like practical ways to get her body out of the free state was hers. And then she said my channel and connection to source and the way that that validated everything that she knew to be true but didn't know how to articulate was also really, really valuable. She said, after working with me, life is no longer a grind. It's soul-led exploration and expression. She says she wakes up and instead of agonizing over a to-do list, she taps into what would make her feel most joyful. She said, I'm no longer paralyzed by procrastination and perfectionism and know whatever I create, whatever I decide will be for my highest good. I feel so much more ease and presence in my day-to-day life and so much more connected to my body. She says that for anybody interested, this program is for those looking for a complete transformation of how you think about and live your life. If you can no longer tolerate your discontent or trying anything is better than continuing like this, Bree is not your savior, but she is a guide into the life that you want to step into. She empowers you and teaches you how to heal yourself. Literally cried tears reading that. Love you, girl. You know who you are. Who wrote that? So if that's the kind of experience that you'd like to have, I'm going to be opening up my applications and we'll have a conversation about if the goals that you're looking for doing like healing coaching work, if my program can provide that. I'm always going to be honest with you. There were quite a few people who applied in the past and we talked about it and I like channeled through the recommendations that was coming through about it, but for whatever reason, it didn't feel like my program was a fit for them at the time, and that was no shade, no hate. They've like come into other programs and working with me, and I very well might work with them in the future, but like it just felt very clear that it just wasn't the time for that, and I'm so happy to share that with you because I don't think that that's a bad thing, and I don't think that's anything also to be ashamed of. That's not like a knock on you. That's not a knock on me. It's just like there's something really important that comes from when it feels like it's really time for something, right? So if you think that it might be, again, sign up for my email list and keep an eye out for when I send out that email, which will be soon. It may already be posted, the application for doing one-on-one work. I'm feeling like I might open up maybe somewhere between 2 and 4 spots over the summer into the fall. So if you want to be one of those people that works with me, I would be so happy. So let's chat. All right, let's talk about the energy forecast for July, August, and September of this year, 2025. The spread is going to be a little bit different than when we were doing just 1 month in the episode. It's going to be a little bit simpler for each month so that we can fit them all in here without it feeling overpowering. But let's start with the arc of what each month represents because I think that tells a really interesting story. So what I did is I pulled a card asking like, what is the main energetic theme of each month? And here's what we got. For July, Major Arcana 16, the Tower card. We'll talk about it. In August, we have the Four of Swords, which is such a nice reprieve after a tower moment. In September, we have the Two of Wands. Now, here's what's interesting about the Two of Wands. This is one of my cards that indicates that there are multiple very likely paths. Like there's like a deviation or a split that can happen almost between like timelines, I guess you could say. And so I pulled for October. I'm like, what is the most likely energies in October, depending on which path we pick here in this Two of Wands, which is represented by somebody kind of like taking into consideration the paths ahead of them. And the two sort of like outcomes, possibilities for October, the first one that popped out right away was the Nine of Pentacles, which again, I love, especially after kind of a tough summer with the tower moment. And the second card was the Knight of Wands. I'll come back and talk about those, but that is the arc that we have for these months for middle, end of summer going into the fall. Now for July. With the tower moment, this can represent that things that were not working for us are falling apart and falling away, like structures that we thought were holding us up or we thought were providing us some sort of safety. They were not, in fact, doing that. They were kind of restricting us, right? Or maybe they were blocking us from what we wanted. And maybe we were having a hard time picking up the signals, or we were having a hard time stepping away from those things. And so the universe comes in and it's kind of like divine demolition. Like, we'll take care of this for you. We got to break it down. It's got to be stripped away so that there can be a reset. And to where you can feel the freedom and maybe even have like the clarity, the visual clarity to see how you might want to move forward in the ways that you've been wanting, because these structures, literal, metaphorical, were not helping you, right? So there's definitely a what's not been working, falling apart, falling away moment and energy for the collective in July. And remember, the collective can be things happening like on a world stage, and this can also be in like a micro moment in our lives. That energy is going to be reflected in both places, but just in slightly different ways, of course. Now, I did do for July our pick a crystal, like pick a vibe, and there's a different message for you for this tower moment, because individually my question was, okay, what is falling away and what is replacing it? Right? So here are the two crystals for you to feel into. One of them is a malachite. It's this beautiful green stone that's got these little like circles and like different shades of green. I'm holding it up to the camera. If you're watching on video, which is Spotify or YouTube, it's a big one too. It's like bigger than the size of my palm. Gosh, I love it. So malachite is one of the stones and amethyst is the other. I've got a little like amethyst wand on the stage in the video. I guess this is a stage of sorts. Amethyst. Okay. So check into your body, whichever one you're drawn toward, your first instinct, whichever one you're feeling a little more curious about. Technically, it could be both, but just like feel into your body. There's not a wrong choice. Okay. It's not a wrong choice, but just like, what would you say is the one that you are really liking, you're really drawn towards? So malachite, beautiful green stone, amethyst, beautiful purple crystal geode. Okay. For those of you who picked malachite, I had this idea of who's in their head and who's in their heart for these groups. Malachite being a stone of the heart, being green, but also can represent the stone of abundance. Can be relationships too, but we have two Pentacles cards, two green cards too, that were pulled as associations with this. So this is really emphasizing to me money, career, maybe health type of energy. Okay. So what is breaking away is the Eight of Pentacles, and what wants to be replaced is the Six of Pentacles. And oh my gosh, this is so juicy. Okay. So the Eight of Pentacles is our work ethic. It's the part of us who does become a little bit effortful, right? And this can be in good, balanced, authentic ways, or it can represent us just like working hard for the sake of working hard, or because we feel like we have to, or like grinding away, right? The reason why you're grinding, I guess, changes the vibe of how it feels, right? But the Eight of Pentacles is definitely us rolling up our sleeves and putting in our 10,000 hours. You've heard me say this before, and becoming an expert in something, right? Like us putting in the hard work. This feels like whatever your work style, your work ethic is changing. It's breaking apart, and you are rebuilding the way that you approach things from like a dedication and perseverance and like diligence perspective. Like when you know it's time to get to work, how do you do that? What is the mindset in which you do that with? Is it just pure force? Is it you creating this arbitrary goal of what it should look like or what society tells you it should look like, and then just like torturing yourself until you get there? Is it something that's really heart-led and coming from motivation, and something where, yes, you're kind of, meeting your edge and pushing yourself a little bit, but you're enjoying the process and you're learning? Like, what does your work ethic look like? And is it in despite of how you feel, or is it in collaboration with how your body feels, right? Like, what does it look like when you really commit yourself to something? And I feel like your revisiting that. I feel like we're rebuilding that a little bit, right? I also think that it's interesting that 8 is the number of abundance and we're in the suit of the Pentacles, which is anything material, including money. Yeah, they're saying for the collective, the number 8, like from a numerology perspective, also talks about power dynamics and personal authority. And they're saying like sometimes when people like try to overpower or kind of overplay their hand or overplay their authority or exert their power on other people, again, kind of like a brute force kind of way, it feels like there's a little bit of a reckoning for that too, collectively, which is very interesting. But for all of us individually, again, our work ethic, our perspective on those things is changing, and what's trying to come in its place after the Tower has broken this apart and broken this down a little bit is the Six of Pentacles, which is all about reciprocity. It's about balance. It's about being motivated by generosity, ultimately, but also being able to be savvy about what feels reciprocal, both in what you give and especially with what you receive. This is a card that comes up a lot with people who tend to overgive or who are very fearful that they're not going to receive enough. And so they get like really like sticky and like really nervous and kind of overthink, how much they're giving and does that equal? And they just get like in their heads about it a lot. The Six of Pentacles is the master at, I don't feel afraid about quote unquote not receiving enough. I trust my instincts about what to give. And I let myself be open, like my heart be open, and I allow things to come to me and I allow myself to receive them without getting all twisted in a knot about it, right? This has been a big lesson for me. I'll just share that I trust my intuition about when it feels like it wants to give. I'm learning that more and more all the time. Of course, this is not something I claim to be perfect about, but this is a lesson that my guides have been working with me on, right? Is that giving does not just have to be transactional, and especially as a business owner where I have to like price things and there's an element of that too that it can be tricky to find the balance of it, right? But I trust when my heart is saying that I should offer something, and I trust when that's something that maybe doesn't have a price tag. I trust when that does have a price tag and that there's a function and value to that. I trust whatever that might look like. If I'm feeling led to give my energy, to give my time, to give some sort of resource to something, I trust the universe nudging me to do that, because it's a part of a bigger plan of how we circulate things to people, how we get prayers answered both ourselves and how other people get their prayers answered, right? How we can be a part of all of that. And I also have to allow things to come in to fill up my bucket so I can keep being a player in this bigger divine cosmic plan, right? If I want to still be able to be somebody that blesses other people, I have to have a full bucket to do that, or else I'm not going to be able to, just period, right? I deserve to receive just as much as it feels really good to give. And so this is the card of feeling the circulation, feeling the flow of things move out and they come in, and they move out and they come in, and trusting that always happens. So you don't feel too grippy, like you have to hold on to things, like you can let them go. And you also feel trust that and open and safe to let things come in and receive them too, right? Big messages for that. Both pentacles under that malachite green heart crystal of what's being broken down with this Tower card in the month of July, the 8 of Pentacles, and what's being built up in its replacement, and it's the 6 of Pentacles. Now let's talk about this Amethyst group, which is a little bit more the head, the way that we're thinking, but also the perspective that we have on things. I think our crown chakra, which is what I've been referring to as I'm like touching the top of my head in this video. You're probably like, Brie, what are you doing? Amethyst is a crown chakra stone, and purple is the color associated with our crown chakra. Hence me like touching the top of my head in my hair. Anyway, for the head, it's our perspective, right? And I think one of the things that is really beautiful about when we're open and we're connected with our higher self and we're connected with the universe or our guides or our angels or whatever you want to call it, is that we have the opportunity to sort of download or shift the way that we're looking at things, our perception, the way that we perceive them, the context that we're looking at things through, right? The lens that we see things through. And that feels like the focus for this Amethyst group of what is breaking down and being rebuilt, is something about the way that you're looking at things. And this is so emphasized with these cards because what's being broken down is the Ace of Swords, and what's being built up is the Page of Wands. So what's being broken down with the Ace of Swords, this is definitely related to the way that we're thinking, with it being the Swords card, with our mental bodies. And this is also about the way that we learn, or the start of a new idea, or the way that we're asking questions. Like the Ace is the initiation of the suit. So this is an initiation of maybe a goal, again, a way of thinking, an idea, maybe the spark of starting to speak. more clearly for ourselves, communication. These are all swords aspects, right? I wonder if the way that we initiate, or even us being open to new versions of these things, is being remodeled. Talking about divine demolition, right? Like, I wonder if that is the place in our lives or in ourselves that we're shifting, we're creating some change, right? I wonder what your relationship is to taking in new information and to learning new perspectives. Is it something that you are really flexible about? Like, you're happy to be like, oh, wow, that is different. Okay, it's just different. I'm moving on. Or do you hold on really tightly to things, and do things really have to go sideways before you finally let yourself change the way you're thinking about something, maybe the way you're speaking about something, or like your openness to take in like truly a different way of looking at it? Right? That initiation of things kind of starting in this world of the swords is where there's a revamp going on, where there's going to be some things breaking down, not working, so that we can rebuild with more of a Page of Wands energy. The Page of Wands is driven by excitement, adventure, passion, joy, creativity. So we move out of the suit of the swords, which is very mental, and we move into the suit of passion, of fire, of our literal like creative life force energy. And to me, this shows that for this group, you're really trying to shift into your body, literally the sensations in your body, because things like joy and passion and creativity, they start in the body, and they are very contingent on the mind-body connection, right? So if you're somebody that intellectualizes a lot, intellectualizes emotions, things that happen, that can be a sign that we need to build the mind-body connection up a little bit more, so that you can just sense and feel in your body when you're like getting really amped up about something in a really good way, and you can channel that energy into action, right? The Page is the novice. So there's also an energy of newness and spark in both of these. Allowing yourself to start new, to be a beginner at something, to wobble, to feel a little exposed or a little vulnerable because you're not the master at it, right? A little bit of humble pie in that way, you know? But like, you can't ever get to the point of being an expert in something unless you're willing to start being a beginner and being a novice, right? And there's something that's really nice about being a novice too, like just like the freedom of like, I don't know, so of course I'm going to mess up, right? There's no restrictions about what I think it should be like or it shouldn't be like, or I have no context about this to limit me in any way. So it gets to just be all open. I guess I'll just experiment, I'll explore, which is very much Page of Wands coded. And as you will all remember, this card has been showing up a lot this year, a lot in the previous months. So whoever this Amethyst group is relating to, you're putting it into action. You're literally having something be swapped out in the way you're thinking about stuff. Again, with this Tower card being about the Ace of Swords, and that really trying to give you the opportunity to build up more of like a Page of Wands structure within yourself or in your life. You're anchoring in that ability to follow your intuitive spark. Follow your joyful, passionate spark. Follow your creative spark. Even if you don't have a plan, just trust it. Go for it. Part of you living in this life is literally just for you to have fun and for you to enjoy yourself. So what if you just followed the things that enjoyed you? Like, what if it was kind of that simple? What if you believed that you were supported? Like the universe would support you. It would meet you where you needed to be when you were following what genuinely makes you feel happy, alive, you know? So that is your message, Amethyst group, for the month of July and what that Tower energy is all about. Now I have a couple extra cards for the month of August and September. So for the month of August, after the Tower moment, we have the Four of Swords, which is the card of restoration and reflection. So after some things being shaken up, August is like kind of like a step back, rest, slow down, and think about what's really going on. Let yourself like really reflect and consider and maybe integrate some of the things that have happened. It's a slow down moment for sure. Find some inner peace, find some inner alignment when you're really considering all these things, right? It's a lovely energy. Now, I asked the cards, what energy are we receiving once we slow down? Because one of the really nice things about resting and slowing down is that our energy field literally dilates. Like when we're softer, like we can absorb more. So what are we receiving? And what we're receiving is the Knight of Swords. This feels like a sense of clarity about how we want to move forward, what our ultimate goal or maybe ambition is. Yeah, it's like, it feels like it's like getting clear on a goal of some sort. That's what this energy is feeling like. So it feels like don't chase it, but when you're feeling safe enough, you're programming your body to feel safe resting. You give yourself permission to slow down, and you're like actually spending time with yourself, not just like I'm dissociating and resting, but like I'm trying to mindfully rest and like really be with my feelings and my thoughts and my body as I'm slowing down to be connected with myself. It feels like you're going to have some sort of brainwave or download or sense of clarity being revealed about something that you really want to go after. The Knight of Swords has this like, I'm going for it energy. Sometimes can be a little swift, sometimes can be a little hasty. You might have this like rush of motivation that happens around that. And that's okay too. That honestly feels a little bit on par with that Page of Wands energy. But there's going to be some sort of clarity about something that you really want that comes up and that you'll receive when you let yourself slow down, have a restoration, reflection moment in the month of August. Going into September, we have the Two of Wands energy. The Two of Wands is also in that suit of passion and creativity and spark and all of that kind of stuff with fire and the wands. But the Two of Wands is when we get to the place we're excited about a lot of things, but we're considering the possibilities. We're considering the plan. The classic tarot card is them sort of standing up on a balcony and looking off at the horizon, and they actually have like a little world in their hands. Like it's almost like the world of possibilities. Like, where do I want to go from here? Right? Like there's different paths available. There's usually a little bit of like there might be a risk involved or like a risky choice you might want to make, but you're sitting there considering the options and like which path, which possibility you want to move forward with. And the second card that I pulled for this is what energy in ourselves is going to help us make the most aligned decision, make the decision that feels the most authentic and the one that we're going to have the most peace with. And that energy is the Six of Wands. Lots of wand energy, even going into October too. The Six of Wands is looking at all of the places where you have had little wins and letting yourself feel good about the things that you do well. So with a combination of these two cards is like what energy is going to help us maybe feel clarity about how we want to move forward if we're considering different paths for ourselves in the month of August. Look back and see what has felt good, what you've done well, the places where you've had little wins, like see how far you've come and the wins that you've had. Maybe even the times people have praised you. That's also an association with the Six of Wands. Where people really give you kudos, where they reflect back to you something that, you know, really impacts them positively or that you do well. And let those be clues to you, or at the very least help feed your sense of self-confidence and your sense of self-worth so that you feel more empowered in making that decision. That's going to be just like a helpful energy as you're navigating these future options, this planning, this choice that might emerge in the month of August with that Two of Wands. Actually, that was September. I think I was saying August. Sorry, guys. I'm a little all over the place today. I feel so bad for my assistant who's editing this because you guys don't even know at the beginning all of this stuff I was back and forth on. And I was like, wait, hold on about this. I'm feeling very purple today. All over the place. Both of those cards were for September. Okay. The Two of Wands, the Six of Wands. I'm so sorry if I said August. And that was confusing. The choice, the feeling of like, what are the two options? And you know, connecting with the things you've done well and your sense of self-confidence. That's all September energy. Okay. The August energy was the Four of Swords, restoration and reflection. And July is this Tower moment of things breaking down so that we can rebuild. You'll have to let me know how this resonates for you guys. I'm still going to be on social media. Like I said, I'm doing a lot of fun stuff on TikTok. Please subscribe to my email list if you want to continue to hear all of the fun things that I'm doing. I'm also going to start doing TikTok lives where I do mini tarot readings where I'm essentially plugging into your soul contracts and doing like tarot pulls about where you're at with your soul contracts. Like what are the main soul contracts that you're working through? And I'm doing like a mini paid reading on there where you can like specifically ask about a topic of your choice, and through the cards I'm channeling into like what your soul contracts have to say about navigating all of that. So that's the only place where I'm offering those mini like live readings. I'm feeling like I'm going to be doing that around, I think it's going to be 11:30 a.m. PST, so Pacific time, until like 1:30 PST. So that'll be kind of like around lunchtime for my Pacific girlies and guys, and then like mid to late afternoon for those of you on the East Coast, or I know we have some international people too, so wherever you might want to join from there. I'm thinking I'm maybe going to do it midweek, like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and just see how it goes. It's one of those things where I'm going to let myself play with it. And if it like is going well and if I'm enjoying it, then I'm probably going to challenge myself to do it more consistently and just see what happens. But yeah, follow me on that place, on that app, if you have it. I would love to see you there. Even just come in and say hi. There's a free card pull that you get if you follow me. And then there's the paid version that's a little bit longer of a reading that I'm going to be doing on there, which is the sort of like mini reading. So I would love to see you there. I love all you guys so much. It means so much to me when you support all these sort of like new little ventures, these new little offers that I do. And that'll be a way that we can stay connected and stay interacting over the summer when I'm taking a pause on the podcast and maybe a pause on you getting some of these channeled messages through this medium. So I can't wait to see you there. I hope you all have a good summer. Enjoy it. Get out in the sunshine. And I'll see you on my email list or on my social media platforms. So don't be a stranger. Thank you so much for being here for this season of Breakthroughs with Bree. Feel free to send me an email or a message about what kinds of things or maybe what kind of guests that you'd love to see on the next season. And I can't wait to see you then. Until next time, bye everyone. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Breakthroughs with Bree. But before you go, please take a moment to either rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to it, or share this episode or maybe one of your other favorites with friends or loved ones that you think might enjoy or benefit from this content. Both of those things help more than you know, so that I can keep creating these episodes to help us all have more breakthroughs. Remember, you can connect with me on social media, sign up for my email list, hear what products, services, or events that I'm currently offering, all in the link in the show description or by visiting my website, healingwithbree.net. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support and for the time that you're taking to heal yourself and align more with your beautiful soul, as it helps us all so much more than you realize. I'll see you all next week for more breakthroughs.